Hello, my dear young minds. How are you all? I hope you all are doing really very well. My name is Shima Parveen and I am your English teacher. Today, with me, you are going to start with your chapter number 3. Okay, and the name of this chapter is The Last Leaf. Actually, this chapter is totally dedicated to the beauty of art. Okay, you all love painting. Okay, maybe you are a good painter or maybe you are a bad painter, it doesn't matter. Okay, we all love seeing paintings. Okay, so this chapter is totally dedicated to the art. Okay, now art, whether in the form of a painted leaf or any other creative expression, has the ability to inspire and uplift individuals even in their darkest moment. Yes, absolutely right. Art, maybe it is presented in the form of painted leaf. Painted leaf means a painter when paint a leaf, it is called as a painted leaf. Okay, art, maybe it is present in front of us as a form of painted leaf, or maybe a painted building, or maybe a scenery, anything. Okay, they always soothe our mind. Okay, they always calm our mind. Okay, it gives us a very beautiful sight to our eyes. That's why it is called as the beauty of art. The beauty in the world can remind people of the value of life and provide a reason to keep finding. Okay, see, art, actually art gives us art gives the hope of living in every human being's heart. Okay, art tells us that we don't have to never lose any kind of hope. Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter if we are falling apart in our life, it doesn't matter, we always have to be full of hope. Okay, it reminds us the people. Okay, art also remind us. Okay, art also give us a reminder that our life is very precious. Okay, nothing is more precious than our life, and nothing is also more beautiful than our life. The Last Leaf by O. Henry is about the power of hope, friendship, and the impact of one's action on others. Okay, so this chapter is written by a very famous writer of American literature, O. Henry. Okay, the real name of O. Henry is William Potter. Okay, O. Henry was his pen name. Okay, so he dedicated this Last Leaf chapter to friendship. Okay, in this chapter, O. Henry tried to show that what kind of beauty friendship hold. Okay, and it also shows that we always have to keep a ray of hope in our heart. Okay, and it also shows how the action of any other person affects our own life. Okay, so now come with me and let's start the chapter. In a small part of the city west of Washington Square, the streets have gone wild. They turn in different directions. This story start with Washington Square, which is presented in Washington, United States of America. Okay, so here the streets are very crowded, the streets are going wild, the streets are full of people because this street is turning in different directions. They are broken into small pieces called places, and in and when this street is turning in different direction, those different direction is called as different places, which is present in Washington Square. One street goes across itself one or two times. Okay, one street leads to any one direction more than one or two times. A painter once discovered something possible and valuable about this street. So once a painter was crossing this street, okay, immediately he discovered that he can find some possibility in this streets. Suppose a painter had some painting material for which he had not paid. Now what kind of possibility he find? That suppose a painter, okay, suppose a painter having all the painting materials. Okay, but he maybe have all those painting materials, but he purchased those painting material without paying a single money for it. Suppose he had no money. Suppose a man came to get the money. Okay, he is thinking that suppose a painter don't have any kind of money. Okay, and he came to got a money. Okay, if we don't have money, we go to our parents, ask for money. Okay, similarly, if this man don't have any kind of money, they are going to ask for money. The man might walk down the street and suddenly meet himself coming back without having received a cent. Okay, so here you can see, my dear student, how painter is correlating human beings with those directions, those streets who are going in more than one or two directions. Okay, so here you can see if a person lost his route, okay, if a person lost his route, he may cross one direction but again came back to that direction because two roads are leading in same direction. This part of the city is called Greenwich Village. Okay, so this area of Washington Square is named as the Greenwich Village. And to old Greenwich Village, the painters soon came. Okay, and according to that painter, he thought that in Greenwich Village, all the painters may soon visit here, may soon made a visit here. Here they found rooms here they found rooms they like with good light and at a low cost. But why painters would like to visit Greenwich Village? Because they found those kind of facilities which suit their painting activities. Okay, that's why they are going to visit Greenwich Village in upcoming future. Sue and Johnsey lived at the top of a building with 3 floors. So here, my dear student, you can see Sue and Johnsey. Okay, these two ladies used to live at the top of the building which is presented in Greenwich Village. One of these young women came from Maine and other from California. Okay, so among Sue and Johnsey, one is from Maine and another one is from California. Maine and California, these are the states. Okay, these are the states of United States of America. They had met at a restaurant on 8th Street. Okay, so Sue and Johnsey met with each other on a restaurant which is located on 8th Street. There they discovered that they liked the same kind of art, the same kind of food and the same kind of clothes. So they decided to live and work together. Okay, see, first of all, Sue and Johnsey, they both are different individuals. Okay, but when both of them discovered that they like same art, they like to wear same kind of clothes, they like same kind of music, etc. and etc. So both of these two ladies decided that we are going to live together. Okay, what do you think? You have to do this. That was in the spring. That was in the spring towards winter. A cold stranger entered Greenwich Village. Okay, it was a springtime. Okay, and at springtime, a stranger entered in the Greenwich Village. No one could see him, but that stranger is completely stranger for the for the people who used to live in Greenwich Village. He walked around touching one person here and another there with his icy fingers. And actually that stranger is behaving in a very weird manner because he was suffering from some kind of disease. Okay, and that's why his whole body is freezed. Okay, he freezed. Okay, but he was touching each and every person present in Greenwich Village with his icy cold hands. He was a bad sickness. He was very ill. Doctors called him pneumonia. Okay, and what kind of disease? Okay, what kind of disease from which that stranger is suffering? Pneumonia. I hope, my dear student, you all know what is pneumonia is called as. Pneumonia is basically spread through bacteria and viruses. Okay, in pneumonia, we suffer from heavy fever. Our body is completely sweating. Okay, and we are freezed. Okay. On the east side of the city, he hurried, touching many people, but in the narrow streets of Greenwich Village, he did not move so quickly. So on the east side of Greenwich Village, he touched many people, okay, who used to live in east side of Greenwich Village. But here comes a narrow street, okay, and in this narrow street of Greenwich Village, that stranger was not able to move quickly because the streets are very narrow. Mr. Pneumonia was not a nice old gentleman. Okay, so nobody know the name of that stranger. That's why they call that stranger as Mr. Pneumonia. But from his appearance, Mr. Stranger or Mr. Pneumonia was not appearing as a good or nice gentleman. A nice old gentleman would not hurt a weak little woman from California. But Mr. Pneumonia touched Johnsey with his cold fingers. And why he was not acting and why he was not showing as a nice old gentleman? Because if you are suffering from fever or if you are suffering from some kind of viral or bacterial infection, you are not going to touch your friends or family members. Okay, because there are possibilities, there are chances that the disease from which you are suffering, they can also suffer. Okay, so Mr. Pneumonia or Mr. Stranger touched Johnsey. Okay, She lay on her bed almost without moving, and she looked through the window at the wall of the house next to her. Okay, Johnson was also suffered from pneumonia. Okay, she fell ill. Okay, and she was not able to move. Okay, she was not able to move her body completely. She was bedridden. One morning, the busy doctor spoke to Sue alone in the hall where Johnson could not hear. So, Sue, her friend, called doctor. Okay, and now doctor and Sue both are talking with each other, but Johnson can't hear their conversation. She has a very small chance, he said. Doctor said, Sue, Johnson has a very little chance of survival. She has a chance if she wants to leave. If people don't want to leave, I can't do much for them. Okay, and there are only very few little chances that Johnson can survive. Okay, only Johnson can survive for few days if her will is strong, her willpower is strong. If she wants to leave, the rest of her life, the rest of few days of her life with joy and enjoyment, then only she was going to survive. Otherwise, I can't do anything. Your little lady has decided that she is not going to get well. Is there something that is troubling her? Okay, and now doctor discussed the major problem from which Johnson was suffering to Sue. He asked to Sue, can you please tell me, is something bothering Johnson? Why she was not willing to live? Okay, can you please tell me the reason behind it? She always wanted to go to Italy and paint a picture of the Bay of Naples, said Sue. It is weakness, said the doctor. I will do all I know how to do. Okay, now Sue discussed the dream of Johnson, and she tells to the doctor that Johnson always wanted to visit Italy. Okay, and she always wanted to paint the Bay of Naples. I hope, my dear student, you know what is the meaning of Bay of Naples. Bay of Naples is an area which is presented in the west side of Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and it is also called as Gulf of Naples, presented in Italy, and Italy is presented in European country. Okay, it is weakness. Okay, so after listening the dream of Johnson from the mouth of Sue, doctor said it is the weakness of Johnson. Okay, I will do. Okay, I'm just going to find out the solution. Okay, for this. Thank you so much, Sue, for telling me the exact problem behind the illness of Johnson. But when a sick man begin to feel that he is going to die, half my work is useless. Okay, but doctor said if the patient is already thought that no, I'm not going to survive, it means half of the battle or more than half of the battle we already lost. Talk to her about new winter clothes. If she were interested in the future, her chances would be better. Okay, now the doctor is suggesting Sue, just let her talk. Just let her just try to divert her mind from her illness. Okay, talk about new places, discovering new places, talk about purchasing new clothes, talk about traveling the whole world. Just try to divert her mind from Italy or Bay of Naples. After the doctor had gone, Sue went into the workroom to cry. Then she walked into Johnson's room. She carried some of her paintings material and she was singing. Okay, when doctor was gone, Sue started crying. Okay, she started crying. Okay, and after crying, okay, when she was feeling less heavy burden on his heart, on her heart, she went to Johnson's room, and along with them, she also carried all her painting materials. And she was also singing. Johnson lay there very thin and very quiet. Her face was turned towards the window. Sue stopped singing, thinking that Johnson was asleep. Okay, and when Sue entered into the Johnson's room, Johnson was lying weakly. Okay, her appearance was looking like she is suffering from so much diseases. Okay, her face is looking very pale. Her skin was darker. Okay, and when Seo saw Johnson lying in this situation, she thought that Johnson was sleeping. That's why she stopped singing. Seo began to work. As she worked, she heard a low sound again and again. She went quickly to the bedside. Johnson's eyes were open wide. She was looking out of the window and counting back 12. She said, and a little later 11, and then 10 and 9, and then 8 and 7 almost together. Okay, so Johnson stopped singing. Okay, and she began her work. She began her doing her work in the room of Johnson. Okay, Immediately at that time, Seo heard a little whisper coming from the Johnse's mouth. She heard that Johnsey is counting. Okay, Johnsey is making a count. Johnsey is counting. Like, first of all, she counted 12, then 11, then 10, then 9, then 8, then 7, and like this. Seo looked out the window. What was there to count? There was only the side wall of the next house a short distance away. Okay, Seo was surprised that Johnson was counting what? Okay, what kind of thing Johnson was counting? Okay, so immediately she looked out of the window. Okay, and out of the window she only can see the side of a wall. The wall had no window, and old tree grew against the wall. The cold breath of winter had already touched it. Almost all its leaves had fallen from its dark branches. So Seo looked at, there is only a wall, okay, and beside that wall, a tree, a very old tree was grown up. Okay, very old tree existed there, and all the leaves are shed. All the branches of the leaf are shedding their leaves. Okay, only few leaves are stuck with the branches of the tree. What is it, dear? Asked Seo. So immediately Seo asked, Johnsey, can you please tell me what is it? What you are counting? 6, said Johnsey in a voice still lower. They are falling faster now. 3 days ago there were almost 100. It hurt my head to count them, but now it's easy. There goes another. There are only 5 now. Okay. So Johnsey said, Seo, there are 6 leaves present in this branch right now. Okay, only just 3 days ago there are more than 100 of leaves. Okay, and it gave me a headache while I'm counting those leaves. Okay, but right now it makes, okay, but right now I can count them easily. Okay, right now there are only 5 leaves stuck on that branch of the tree. 5? What, dear? Tell your Seo. So Seo was surprised. She asked to Johnsey, Johnsey, five leaves, what are you talking? Leaves on the tree. When the last one falls, I must go to. I have known that for 3 days. Didn't the doctor tell you? Okay. So immediately Johnson tells you, leaves. I'm talking about leaves. There are only 5 leaves are sticking to their branches. When all these leaves are fallen, I'm going to die. Isn't it, doctor tell you? Oh, I never heard of such thing, said Seo. The Seo was completely shocked. She immediately said, Johnson, stop this nonsense. I have never heard such kind of things. It doesn't have any sense in it. What does an old tree have to do with you or with your getting well? And you used to love that tree so much. Don't be a little fool. So Seo said, Johnson, don't make yourself fool. I didn't have such kind of foolish talk ever. Okay, you love that old tree. That's why you are counting the leaves falling from the tree. Don't be a little fool. So don't make yourself fool. The doctor told me your chances for getting well. He told me this morning, he said you had very good chances. So immediately Seo said, John said, yes, I have a little chat with your doctor, and he told me that you have a very good chances of survival. But for your own survival, you have to make a very strong willpower. Try to eat a little now, and then I will go back to work, and then I can sell my pictures, and then I can buy something more for you to eat to make you strong. Okay, so just focus on your eating, just focus on your diet. Okay, and after finishing our food, I'm going to the market. I'm going to the market for selling my some paintings. Okay, and after selling my painting, when I got some money, I'm going to buy some new things, some new food items for your eating. You don't have to buy anything for me, said Johnson. She still looked out of the window. There goes another. No, I don't want anything to eat. Now there are 4. I want to see the last one fall before night. Then I will go to. Okay. So immediately Johnson said to Seo, you don't need to buy anything for me. Okay. I'm just going to see how the last leaf from this branch is going to fall. Okay. Because when the last leaf from this branch is going to fall, I'm also going to I'm also going to back to God, and I want to see that. John said, dear, said Seo, will you promise me to close your eyes and keep them closed? Will you promise me not to look out of the window until I finish working? I must have this picture ready tomorrow. I need the light. I can't cover the window. So Seo was little bit frustrated because Johnson was continuously talking non-stop, okay, and continuously talking nonsense things, okay. So immediately Seo said to Johnson, can you please stop talking such kind of rubbish things, okay. I have to paint these things, I have to paint this picture because I have to sell this picture tomorrow in the market, okay. So I need light for my painting. I can't cover the window, okay. So just close your eyes for some time and try to sleep. Couldn't you walk in the other room? Asked Johnson coldly. I would rather be here by you, said Seo, and I don't want you to look at those leaves, okay. So Johnson asked in very cold voice, Seo, can't you go to in another room for your painting? So immediately Seo said, no Johnson, I want to stay here with you, okay. You have to close your eyes, okay. You have to close your eyes and you have to take a sleep. Tell me as soon as you finish, said Johnson. She closed her eyes and lay white and still, okay. So Johnson said, okay fine, I'm going to close my eyes, but when you finish your painting, just tell me, because I want to see the last leaf fall. I have done enough waiting. I have done enough thinking. I want to go sailing down, down like one of those leaves, okay? Because I want to see the last leaf falling from the tree because I'm exhausted from waiting, okay? I just want to go back to God. Try to sleep, said Seo. I must call Behrman to come up here. I want to paint a man in this picture and I will make him look like Behrman. Okay. So Seo said to Johnson that Johnson, try to sleep. I'm just going to call Behrman. Who was Behrman? Behrman was a painter of Greenwich Village. Okay. And I would like to paint a man. Okay. I'm just going to make a painting of a man who would exactly the replica of Behrman. I won't be gone for a minute. Okay. I'm not going for a single minute. Don't try to move till I come back. Old Behrman was a painter who lived on the first floor of their house. Okay. So Seo go. Because Seo go to call Behrman. Okay. And Behrman, a painter who used to live in Greenwich Village. And he lives in the same building in which Seo and Johnson live. Okay. He was past 60. His age was past 60 years. He had had no success as a painter. For 40 years, he had painted without ever painting a good picture. He had always talked of painting a great picture, a masterpiece, but he had never yet started. Behrman considered himself as a great painter. For the last 40 years, he was painting, okay, but none of them are called as a great masterpiece, okay, but still he called himself as a great painter. He got a little money by letting other paint pictures of him. He drank too much. He still talked to his great masterpiece and he believed that it was his special duty to do everything possible to help Seo and Johnson. Okay. So Behrman, the picture of Behrman, who is an old man, okay, many painters wants to draw his picture, okay, and in return, Behrman got a very little amount of money, but Behrman was a very heavy drinker, okay, he used to drink a lot, okay, and when Seo asked help, okay, when Seo asked help, Behrman promised that in every possible way in which he can help Seo and Johnson, he is going to help them. Seo found him in a dark room and she knew that he had been drinking. Okay, so when Seo goes to his house, she found that he was sitting in a very dark room and immediately Seo understand that he was drinking. She could smell it. She told him about Johnson and the leaves of the wine. She said that she was afraid that Johnson would indeed sail down like the leaf. Her hold on the world was growing weaker, okay, and immediately a very strong smell of drink spread, okay, reached in her nostril, okay. Immediately she understood that Behrman was drinking, okay. So he confronted Behrman and told the situation of Johnson, okay. She told Behrman that Johnson was losing all the hopes of his life, okay. Continuously he was thinking about the leaves falling from the tree, and according to Johnson, when the last leaf will fall, she will also gone from this world. Old Behrman shouted his anger over such an idea. What? He cried. So when old Behrman listened, got to know such kind of stupid idea, such kind of stupid things from the Johnson's mouth, okay, from Johnson's mouth to Seo, he immediately shouted, what? What kind of rubbish you are talking? And they are such fools. Are there such fools? Do people die because leaves drop off a tree? I have not heard of such a thing. No, I will not come up and sit while you make a picture of me. Why do you allow her to think such a thing? That poor little John say, okay? I can't believe still in today's world such kind of fool exist, okay? Who still think that he or she is going to die after falling the last leaf from the tree. Is it possible? No, 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 no. I'm not going to make a painting. Okay, I'm not going to allow you to make a painting of myself. Okay, and Sio, can you please tell me why you are not helping Johnson? Why you are not able to stop to see you thinking such kind of foolish or rubbish things? Okay, that poor little Johnson. She is very sick and weak, said Sio. The sickness had put the strange ideas into her mind. Mr. Baharman, if you won't come, you won't. But I don't think you are very nice. Okay. So Sio immediately responded to Mr. Baharman that Mr. Baharman, she is suffering from pneumonia. Okay, and illness make her think such a rubbish things. This disease put such kind of rubbish things in her mind. It is not her fault. If you are not going to help me, it is your decision. I'm not going to force you, but from my point of view, you are not a good person. This is like a woman, shouted Baharman. Who said I will not come? Go, I come with you. For half an hour, I have been trying to say that I will come. God, this is not any place for someone so good as Johnson to lie sick. Someday I shall paint my masterpiece and we shall all go away from here. God, yes. So immediately Baharman shouted, this is right now you are behaving like a typical woman. Who said that I'm not coming? From the past half an hour, I'm conveying that yes, I am coming. I'm ready to help you and Johnson because I don't want that such a beautiful soul like Johnson should die very soon. Okay, but I'm just telling you, okay, sometime, okay, maybe in near future I'm going to draw my great masterpiece which you and Johnson and the whole world will remember. What do you think? You have to do it, my dear students. Johnson was sleeping when they went up. Sio covered the window and took Baharman into the other room. Okay, when Sio and Mr. Baharman reached at the home of Johnson and Sio, Johnson was sleeping at that time. Immediately Sio covered the windows, immediately covered the window. There they looked out of the window fearfully at the tree. Okay, now both Sio and Mr. Baharman looking fearfully outside the window. Then they looked at each other for a moment without speaking. A cold rain was falling with a little snow in it. There was a very heavy rainfall pouring outside the window. Okay, and a little bit snowfall is also coming. Behrman sat down and Sio began to paint. She worked through most of the night. Okay, so Behrman sat down and Sio started making a portrait of Mr. Behrman throughout the night. In the morning, after an hour's sleep, she went to Johnson's bedside. Johnson, with wide open eye, was looking toward the window. I want to see, she told Sio. Okay. Now, in the morning, when Sio went to visit Johnson in her room, Johnson was awake. Okay. Immediately, she asked, can you please open the window? I want to see the leaf of the trees. Sio took the cover from the window, but after the beating rain and the wild wind that had not stopped through the whole night, there still was one leaf to be seen against the wall. It was the last on the tree. It was still dark green near the branch, but at the edges it was turning yellow with age. There it was hanging from a branch nearly 20 feet above the ground. Okay, so immediately Sio opened the window. And Johnson and Sio saw that one leaf, okay, one leaf is still hanging from the branch. Okay, it is bright in green color, but having a yellow color in its edges. Okay, due to its growing age. Okay, it was a still dark outside. It is the last one, said Johnson. I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind. It will fall today and I shall die at the same time. So immediately Johnson said, Sio, can you see it? This is the last leaf hanging from the tree. When it will fall, I'm also going to die. And this leaf is going to fall by tonight. And by tonight, I'm also going to die. Dear Johnson, said Sio, think of me. If you won't think of yourself, what would I do? So Sio immediately said, Johnson, don't try to think such kind of a stupid thing. Okay, if you are going to die, what I'm going to do? Okay, how I'm going to live without you? Just think about me. But Johnson did not answer. The most lonely thing in the world is a soul when it is preparing to go on its far journey. The ties that held her to friendship and to earth were breaking one by one. Okay, but Johnson didn't answer. Okay, but Johnson didn't give the answer of the question to CO. Okay, because my dear student, it is the most, have you ever think what is the most lonely thinking, okay, which a person can think, okay, only thing, okay, only thing the person can think, which is called as a loneliest thing. When you are going to die, you know you are going to die, someone is suffering from disease and he or she know that within few days or within few months I'm going to die. Okay, so when days are continuously passing, time is a continuous thing. Okay, so when days are passing, months are passing, and that person, maybe he or she, okay, they are going day by day nearer to their death. That feeling is the most loneliest feeling in the world for anyone. Okay, so that feeling also occupied the mind of Chauncey. That's why she was feeling most loneliest person at that moment. The day slowly passed. As it grew dark, they could still see the leaf hanging from its branches against the wall. Now the day was passing in a very slow speed. Still, both Seo and Johnson can see that leaf is still hanging from the branch. And then, as the night came, the north wind began again and again. North wind began again to blow. The rain still beat against the window. Now the night time came. Still heavy rainfall and heavy winds are blowing. Okay. When it was light enough the next morning, Johnson again commanded that she is allowed to see. And in the next morning, when rainfall stopped, okay, and blowing of heavy winds are stopped, okay, Johnson requested Seo that she wants to see the leaf. The leaf was still there. Johnson lay for a long time looking at it, and then she called the CEO who was cooking something for her to eat. Okay, the leaf was still hanging from the branch. Okay, and immediately she called CEO. I have been a bad girl, CEO, said Johnson. Something has made that last leaf stay there to show me how bad I was. It is wrong to want to die. So Johnson started telling, okay, Johnson started talking with Seo that Seo, I'm a very bad girl. Can you see? Okay, even God is saying that I'm a very bad girl. It is really bad idea to think about your own death. I will try to eat her, but first bring me looking glass so that I can see myself, and then I will sit up and watch you cook. Okay. So my dear Sue, please bring me a glass. Okay. Please bring me a looking glass because I just want to eat something right now, and I also want to look you when you cook in the kitchen. An hour later, she said, Seo, someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples. The doctor came in the afternoon. Seo followed him to the hall outside Johnson's rooms to talk to him. And after an hour, Johnson was saying to Seo that, Seo, if I will get better, okay, if I will become better, okay, I'm going to paint the Bay of Naples, okay. And at that afternoon, doctor came for checking Seo, okay. And after the checkup, doctor and Seo are talking with each other regarding the health status update of Johnson. The chances are good, said the doctor. He took Seo thin shaking hand in his, okay. Give her good care and she will get well. And now I must see another sick person in this house. His name is Baharman, a painter, I believe pneumonia too. Mike is an old weak man and he is very ill. Okay. So now doctor is saying to CEO that chances are very good. Okay. Johnson is recovering at a very good speed. Okay. You have to take very good care of yourself. Now must I have to visit my another patients waiting for me. One of them is a Mr. Behrman. He considered himself as a great painter. And after that, I also have to have a look on my another patient named as Mike. Mike is also an old man. There is no hope for him, but we take him to the hospital today. We will make it as easy for him as we can. Okay, now the doctor is saying there is no hope left that Mr. Behrman is going to be fine. Okay, but we are trying to do our best. We are going to take him to the hospital. If you remember, my dear student, when Mr. Behrman come to visit Johnson, he was still suffering from pneumonia. Okay. The next day, the doctor said to the CEO, she is safe, you have done it. Food and care now, that's all. And the next day, when the doctor came to see the routine checkup of Johnson, immediately he said to CEO, CEO, you are really a very good woman. You have taken a very good care of Johnson. She is recovering. And that afternoon, CEO came to the bed where Johnson lay. She put one arm around her. Okay, and at the afternoon time, CEO came and hugged Johnson. I have something to tell you, she said. Mr. Berman died of pneumonia today in the hospital. He was ill only 2 days ago. Someone found him on the morning of the first day in his room. He was helpless with pain. Okay. Now CEO is telling to Johnson, Johnson, I have to tell you something. Mr. Berman, who considered himself as a very great painter, died due to pneumonia. He was suffering from great pain. His shoes and his clothes were wet and as cold as ice. Everyone wondered where he had been. The night had been so cold and wild. Okay, his shoes and his clothes are wet and his body is just looking like a freezing frozen thing. Okay, nobody knows what he was doing that night. And here, my dear student, Mr. Berman was painting a picture for Johnson and CEO, but both of them don't know about it. Okay, and then they found something. There was a light that he had taken outside, and there was his material for painting. There was a paint, green paint and yellow paint. And now CEO continued his talk with Johnson. They said some villagers found some painting materials from Mr. Berman's body. Okay, Mr. Berman was carrying green and yellow color painting, and she stopped. She stopped and again started saying that, look out the window, dear, at the last leaf on the wall. Didn't you wonder why it never moved when the wind was blowing? Oh, my dear, it is Berman's great masterpiece he painted. Okay, so CEO said to Johnson, Johnson, are you really astonished? Are you really surprised? And you are thinking that due to the heavy blowing off, okay, heavy winds are blowing, heavy rainfall are pouring, but still that green colored leaf, only single piece of leaf is still hanging from its branches. Why it didn't fall from its branches? Because it was a great masterpiece painted by Mr. Berman. Okay. So in this way, my dear student, this chapter is finished, written by O. Henry. What do you think? What did Johnson see the next morning? My dear student, this chapter is very good. This chapter is giving a very good life lesson to us. See, Mr. Berman was right. He said that I'm going to paint one of the greatest masterpiece of my life. Yes, he really painted. He painted a leaf, only a small leaf, having a yellow and green color. But due to his painting, an innocent life of Johnson was saved. Because Johnson get a life of a living hope. Okay, a hope of living from that painting. Okay, Mr. Berman maybe died because he was suffering from pneumonia and he was wet. He was wet due to the rain, because in that stormy night, in that rainy night, he painted that painting for Johnson, because he promised to CEO that in every possible way he was going to help CEO and Johnson. Okay, and due to his great masterpiece, Johnson's life was saved, although he sacrificed his own life. So here you can see, my dear student, if you really think what kind of magic can art create, this kind of magic art can create. Okay, this chapter is totally based on the magic of art. Art gives us the hope of living. Okay, so my dear student, whenever you are feeling bored or whenever you are feeling angry, just paint. Just try to put your own put your all frustration, put all your anger, happiness, sadness, every feeling on your art. Okay, I'm also not a good painter. I'm also not a good painter, but whenever I feel frustrated, I paint. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So my dear student, in this way we have completed this chapter. Now come with me and let's see the keywords which we have seen in this chapter. Refulgent means shining brightly, radiant. Something is shining very brightly is called as refulgent. Pneumonia, an inflammatory condition of a lung affecting primarily the tiny air sacs known as alveoli. Pneumonia means breathing problem. Okay, you are not able to breathe properly, an infection caused by virus or bacteria. Masterpiece are a work of outstanding artistry, skill or workmanship. Masterpiece, a genius work done in any field by anyone. Ties, connection or bonds between people or things. Ties means connection between the people and the things. Shaking, trembling or quivering, often due to fear, excitement or weakness. Whenever you are feeling fear, whenever you are feeling weakness, your body started shaking. Wondered, Pondered or questioned in one's mind. Wondered means whenever you are just whenever your mind is asking question. Okay, that situation is called wondered situation. Refulgent, shining brightly, radiant. Refulgent means shining brightly. Okay, okay, my dear student, in this way we have completed our chapter number 3. Now what you have to do, just go thoroughly through this chapter. Try to understand this chapter at your own self, okay, and try to complete all the exercise based on this chapter. Now I'm taking leave and going to meet with you all in our next class with a new chapter. Till then, my dear students, you have to take very good care of yourself. Bye.